Magnus Carlsen is undoubtedly one of the world's greatest chess players, known for his exceptional skills, consistency in winning tournaments, and remarkable ability to defeat even the most powerful challengers. For the past 2 tournaments, Magnus Carlsen, the Norwegian chess prodigy, had effortlessly worn the crown. But in the shadows, an impressive rival was lurking. Hikaru Nakamura, renowned for his cruel speed and deadly accuracy, was rising through the ranks like a storm. This is the King's Night. The stage was set for a nail-biting confrontation, a title match that would go down in chess history. Magnus Carlsen, the reigning champion, made his opening move with a confident pawn to d4. In the blink of an eye, Hikaru Nakamura responded with a knight to f6, and thus the battle began. The game unfurled into the London system, where Magnus Carlsen's active bishop reigned supreme in the corner of the chessboard. Hikaru responded with a cunning bishop to d6, an elegant dance of strategy. Magnus, the master of endgames, initiated a series of pawn and bishop trades, cleverly steering the game in his favor. Each exchange favored the reigning champion. Hikaru moved his king to safety through a move called castling, which is a common way to protect the king. However, he didn't realize that this move would make the game more complicated. Magnus Carlsen, who's a chess expert, took charge by moving one of his rooks to a square called c1. This move made Hikaru's queen feel threatened, and the match became even tenser. Hikaru had to move his queen to a safer spot to protect it. With his king in a safe place, Magnus was ready to send his rook into the action. Hikaru reacted by moving a pawn to b6, setting the stage for an exciting battle. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Hikaru decided to agree to another trade of bishops with Magnus. This wasn't just about making the game simpler, it was a way to reduce the stress and tension. The match was becoming more and more intense with each move, and both players were using their skills to try and win the Blitz Chess World Championship. There was a sudden change in pace as the World Championship in Blitz Chess was at danger. The current champion, Magnus Carlsen, took a risk when he rolled the dice and put his knight on e5, raising questions about Hikaru Nakamura's position. With the pressure building, Hikaru decided to keep things simple and moved his knights to d7 in exchange. Magnus, however, had different plans. He moved his queen to f3, offering a queen trade. Hikaru cannot take the knight, as if he does, the queen on f3 will take his queen. He cannot take the knight without losing his queen. Known for his lightning-fast actions, Hikaru found his time running out as the clock relentlessly ticked away in a competition where every second counted. Hikaru moves his queen away. Magnus moved his knight to c6, threatening a check on e7. After that, they both made moves that required careful thinking. Hikaru's king had to keep moving to avoid danger, and both players were trying to outsmart each other in this important championship match. The competition was heating up. Then the crucial moment arrived when Magnus Carlsen moved his knight c4. An offensive storm was let loose. Hikaru grabbed a free pawn by accepting the hook. However, these so-called free pawns frequently come at a high cost against Magnus Carlsen. Magnus counterattacked with g5, aiming for Hikaru's knight on f6. Resilient, but under increasing strain, Hikaru moved his other knight to c5 in an attempt to stave off the approaching attack. Magnus moved his knight to d6, focusing his attack on f7 and the middle squares. Hikaru made a disastrous choice at this crucial juncture as he stood on the edge. If he moved his queen to b2, he could have captured another free pawn, but instead, he attacked boldly with his knight on b3, quietly destroying all his winning chances. Magnus laid his rook to c2, stepping out of harm's way, but Hikaru wasn't backing down. He moved his queen to a4, further escalating the tension. Unfortunately, this was where it started to end for Hikaru. The climax was nearing, and it was Magnus who struck first with his rook to c4, a masterstroke that attacked Hikaru's queen once again. Magnus Carlsen was on the verge of victory. He made a powerful move by advancing one of his pawns to g5, kicking away Hikaru's knight. Hikaru's knight had to retreat, which left his king exposed and in a vulnerable position, allowing Magnus to bully Hikaru's king. Hikaru has to move to the only square possible. Hikaru realized his mistake, but it was too late to undo it. Magnus, who was the current champion, seized this opportunity. He moved his rook to h4, preparing for a final, decisive attack. With a series of carefully thought-out moves, he won some material, making it increasingly difficult for Hikaru to defend. In a last desperate attempt, Hikaru tried to create a situation where he could checkmate Magnus with his rook to f8. However, Magnus skillfully countered this move by placing his rook on f4, blocking Hikaru's plan. If Hikaru takes the rook, Magnus will checkmate Hikaru on the back rank. Hikaru decides to resign, crowning Magnus Carlsen the third time in a row World Blitz champion.